Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. Today, I want to take a little bit of time, wipe off my mat here, and go over 5 super cool, um, what I would call some of my top shelf favorite USA made knives. I won't say they're the absolute favorite, but I will definitely say they're among the favorites, right? Um, so I wanted to get into that today and just kind of go through that with you. I did want to drop my Instagram down there in case you guys are over on Instagram and like to give me a follow at jevans_knifeaddict_life. And most importantly, I really want to thank all the channel members who stick with me. I appreciate you guys more than you know. And if any of you are inclined and like to get updates when I go live or release new content, if you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon, you will be notified and it will help the channel. So 5 knives that are made in the USA that really stoke me out, that I really, really like. And we're going to start off kind of simple here with the Protech Mordax. The Protech Mordax is a knife that I never owned when it was a drop product, when it was a drop Protech Mordax. This is just the Ferrum Forge Protech Mordax that was recently released in MagnaCut, and it doesn't have the drop affiliation. Before, when I'd handled a Protech Mordax, it had seemed very sluggish compared to my Malibu. And I figured it was just because it was a bigger blade. And the blade also seemed a good bit thicker than I remember it being, or than it actually is now. And I've come to learn after talking to Dave that this blade was thinned up a little bit and the grind is a little bit more aggressive on the flat grind. It is in Protech's MagnaCut, has an aluminum handle, has this nice scalloping in the handle to give you some texture, has a nice deep carry clip, has a little bit of a point, but nothing that I consider problematic. You've got this forward facing finger choil, or this forward finger choil, and you've got a super, super slicey platform. The Mordax, what attracted me to it and what attracted me to the Malibu, which was its predecessor, was the button lock. It was one of the first button locks that I actually experienced, because the time it was the Malibu. And that was one of my first grails that I was able to get. And then I was at the Nashville Custom Knife Show and was at the Protech booth, and they had a couple of Mordaxes left around, and I did not pass up the chance to grab one. Fantastic knife, flipper only deployment, but it flies out. Let's see if I can fail it. If I barely give that a push, just to where it breaks that detent, it flies out. It's just so well balanced. I mean, it's just a really well done knife. Love the stone washing on the blade. Love the MagnaCut. Love the minimal branding with just Protech and with MagnaCut there. It's just a great knife. I could highly recommend a Mordax or a Malibu to anyone looking for kind of a very unique manual knife with what I consider to be the premier button lock, or plunge lock. So one of my top 5 is definitely for this video, the Protech Mordax. So moving on, we come to the TRM Shadow. Guys, I can't tell you how much this knife makes me feel really stoked, how I enjoy carrying it, how light of a platform it is, how thin and slicey of a platform it is, how ergonomical this knife is. The blade geometry is on top of the world. I think the thumb studs with I put the little O-rings around them just so you can get that good middle finger flick. And then the way that this river lock, which is Protech's answer to, or excuse me, TRM, Three River Manufacturers version of the bar lock. It's called the river lock. But you've got this nicely jimped and coned bar that comes out for the river lock. Gives you really good access to it, and it sucks the blade back in. It's G10 handles that are very comfortable in the hand. You've got this tall, flat grind 20 CV blade that is just absolutely scary sharp. And very minimal branding. You've just got the imprint of the Three Rivers Manufacturing logo on this stonewashed 20 CV blade. And then you've got TRM, USA, 20 CV. It's a light package. You've got these G10 scales. You've got this reinforced area around the river lock. And then you've got that very thin 20 CV blade. And it makes for just a dynamite package. I mean, this thing carries like a dream. It's very light. Again, it's so ergonomical. If I was going to have to break down 1,000 feet of cardboard, this might be one of the knives that I reach for. That was a finger drag fail. That was not a detent fail. Again, it's a river lock, so it's going to have that kind of familiar detent, but it snaps out as long as you don't drag it across your finger, which I had it dragging across my finger. But this is a fantastic knife. The only regret or the only downside to this particular knife is it's not titanium, and you can't get titanium scales for the Shadow. They have to be made together. So I'm faced with having to buy another Shadow in titanium and then selling this one. Who knows? I love this knife. I'm not going to let it deter me carrying it. I've just turned it into pretty much a worker, and I use it quite a bit. Um, every time I have it, I know I'm going to be able to handle anything that's thrown my way. Again, it's not the thickest blade, but it's plenty strong to do anything that I'm going to do in my urban jungle. But number 4 is our TRM Three Rivers Manufacturing Shadow. Moving on, we come to one of my favorite overbuilt gentleman folders. And this is, when I say overbuilt gentleman folder, it is just that. It's a gentleman's knife from Medford. It uses the Marauder platform, the Midi Marauder, and then just made it slimmer. So this is the slim Midi Marauder. I've also got a Midi Marauder that's a good bit thicker. I mean, if I held those two knives up together, you would see when I say it's a slim Midi that it really is a slim Midi. So I would say it's almost half the thickness, the same overall size and package, but just not nearly as thick. So it carries much lighter, thinner blade stock, slicier blade. Just in my daily, again, very urban EDC life, this S90V on this Midi Marauder is just a perfect gentleman's carry. This knife will do anything I need it to do, without a doubt. It's going to be up for any task that comes its way. I mean, you've got these honking stop pins. You've got this fantastic frame lock with this over travel stop. You've got lockup at right about 33%. Again, you've got S90V. You've got deep hollow grind, made out in Arizona, in America. Just a very nice package. And I can't believe this is number 3 on this list because this knife is so good. That's why I said this isn't an absolute, 1 through 5 of all John's USA made knives. It's just me kind of going through these 5 and rating them. And they are definitely more premium, and they are some of my favorites. And I don't know why I'm hitting that wrong through the camera. But this knife's very slicey. Very slicey. But that is the Medford Midi Marauder. This particular one is a drop point, not a Tanto. I've got a Tanto in the Midi Marauder, and this one's in S90V. The way I can tell that is because of the number designation on the blade there, that 9. And then you've got the Medford logo, you've got the 9, which is your blade steel, and then you've got your batch number right here. And that's really the only thing that you've got on a Medford blade. These come in all different types of forms and fashions. This one is an actual falling leaves pattern, which has a little extra scalloping with those fallen leaves. And then it's anode, but it's just got regular hardware. Great knife. Really enjoy this. If there was anything that I would change or ask to be a little bit different in the Slim Midi and also in the Midi Marauder, I wish these had a clip that was a little bit stiffer. And I don't know how you would do that because the clip's fine. It just is a little bit on the looser side. The good news is the knife, even the Slim Midi, weighs enough to where it's not going to be bouncing out of my pocket. But if I'm doing cartwheels, you know, that clip could be a little bit tighter. But number 3, we've got the Medford Slim Midi, which brings me to my number 2 USA made knives. And I've got many knives by this manufacturer. I think when I was counting, it's 6 total, and love every single one of them. They're all different. This is the second Hinderer that I brought into my collection, and this is the XM18 3.5 inch Spanto. So this knife is an overbuilt knife. The Spanto is Hinderer's way of giving you this reinforced tip. So, you know, we're not supposed to pry with our knives, but a lot of us do. A lot of us have to put those tips under some harder use. And that's what this particular grind and setup is set out for. Spanto, so it's a combination of a spear point and a tanto because you've got this compound grind down here because you've got it getting thicker. This particular one is in S45 VN. It's handmade here in America. It's got the tri-way pivot system, which in this particular knife, it's running the ceramic bearings right now. It has got juicy, smooth action. Flipper's great on it. Thumb flick's great on it. Reverse flicks money. It's just a very good knife. And you'll see this is locked up as solid as a board. You can't move that. There's no movement in that. It's just that glassy. So I have really been, what's the word I'm looking for? Not overjoyed, but just super impressed with my journey through the Hinderer landscape, right? I was late Hinderer adopter. I never had any use for Hinderer. I thought they were overbuilt. I thought they were ugly. I didn't understand them. I think I've told you my story about dark gravity, letting me use and try out before I bought his 3-inch Skinner blade Eclipse XM18. This is the XM18 3.5 inch, so this is a more full-size knife. You got this very generous finger choil. For me, it has 2 distinctive grips. And guys, I love it. The only thing I've added to this knife is the titanium scale. It had this battle bronze is the finish of it. So it's the battle bronze XM18 and S45VN. I picked up this battle bronze texture scale, I think from DLT, and was stoked to have it because, again, it just really, you can then take off the titanium liner and then you've just got 2 slabs of titanium like my Medford, and a blade, right? Pretty simple construction, not unlike the way that the Midi Marauder's done. It's just a big, beefy work knife. And this would be kind of my go-to heavy knife. I've got heavier knives. I've got some knives that are this size, that are this in this same wheelhouse. But something about the grip, something about the way this knife makes me feel, something about knowing I've got that reinforced tip just makes it one that I reach for more often than not. So coming in at number 2, guys, is this fantastic Rick Hinderer XM18, proudly made right here in the U.S., and a knife that I could see lasting a lifetime. But that's just me. Anywho, that brings us to a little bit different knife that's made in the USA, but probably one of my most spectacular knives that I've been able to pick up. Kind of a knife that I've kind of witnessed The person who originally owned it, I was with him when he bought it. Met Michael Zieba when he was purchasing it from him. Learned about what his gig is, what he does with knives. His partnership with Jason Knight, who on this particular model, which is this is the Michael Zeba S5, and on this he partnered with Jason Knight for this blade. This knife is 2 pieces of titanium, a big chunk of M390, and then you've got these brass skulls that make up the back spacer. These 3D, I don't know if you can see those skulls. When we open it, I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. But they actually protrude out a little bit here, and they're very, very decorative, just like the handle. To me, it's not bougie. It's just super cool because all this laser etching is this one is the Odin. It's called the Odin pattern. So the clip says Till Valhalla. It's got some Norse ruins there. Got some really interesting graphics when you look at it. You see a lot of different themes kind of play out throughout this knife. And I'm thinking that's Odin there. But then you open it and you've got this wicked Jason Knight tactical blade. On this tactical knife, because this knife actually won the 2020 Blade Show tactical knife at Blade Show, and it is just that. I mean, it's a thick hunk of M390, a little bit of recurve here down at the base. You've got this finger poon to keep you really choked up. You've got jimping right here on this side of the flipper if you want to get up close to make some cuts. This thing is a laser beam, even though it's a little thicker. Whoops, that was me. Cutter error. I got too close to it and just whittled. But yeah, I could cut with this knife all day long. It is a worker. It is a overbuilt, again, 2 pieces of titanium. They happen to have a lot of nice artwork on them, so I wouldn't necessarily want to beat it to death. But this blade can get work done. It's thicker up here at the tip. You can see it's not a Spanto, but it does have that thicker tip because this, at the end of the day, is a tactical knife. It is not a gentleman's folder, I wouldn't call it. I would call it a tactical knife. It is got amazing action. It's got fantastic lockup. I'm horizontal here, but let me see if I can get it to just... I just have to barely turn it, and that blade comes down and just locks home. You've got nice relief here for your access to your lock bar. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's milled down a little further here. And then one of the coolest features, in my opinion, and you know me, I'm kind of an idiot, so it doesn't take much to make me happy. But let me get this turned on low. If you guys can see this, hold on. Can y'all see that down back in the backspacer, that ruin? I don't know if that's showing up on camera, guys. I can't tell if y'all are seeing it, but the back side of those skulls, these brass skulls, you've got this dark and then this brass ruin cut through the surface there. There it is. I don't know what that says, don't know what it means, but I can tell you I think it's very, very cool. And I think Michael Zieba, after talking to him, they've got so many different, the Nuns, one of the versions. I'm trying to think. He's got several different lines in this particular run of S3s that he did. And I'll try to remember to link his website under this description of this video, so you guys can go look at some of the other patterns he did. They're all sold out, but they are just amazing. You can find these on the secondary. I actually picked it up from my brother from another mother, Dark Gravity, who had picked this up. It was what he was going after when we went to the Nashville 2022 Blade Show. He decided he wasn't carrying it. He wanted it to get used. He was going to sell it. And I asked him when he bought it if he was ever going to sell it to let me know. And then he did a huge thing. He held it for me, let me kind of pay it off from him. And then I picked it up when we were done. And it has just been a great knife. I love it. It doesn't get carried as much as it should, but it is definitely up for the task. So guys, that is what I consider 5 of my top USA made EDC knives. And I love every one of these knives. And guys, I could do this video and probably will do this video in some other price points because I've got I've got a nice collection of American knives. I could definitely break it up and bring you more American knives. Some of in the Benchmade Spyderco, tactile turn range. You guys just let me know in the comments what type of content you like. I can break it out in 5s. I can do battles. I can do deep dives. Of course, I'm going to keep bringing in content for fresh content, but just kind of get the feel of if you guys like these top 5 videos. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video. Again, thank you to all my channel members. Open invitation to any one of you guys or gals. Please hit that subscribe button, the bell notification icon. Love to have you join me on this ride. And then please, please, please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.